On today's episode, we're going to talk about why taking ownership and communicating in a timely manner is what delivers excellent results to your team and to your clients. So stay tuned and we're going to dive in. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been taking time to go over the core values that we live by here at a Business Marketing Engine, as well as our guiding principles. And so we're going to dive in today. We've got a couple left to do today, a couple left to do tomorrow. And as I mentioned in the beginning, when we take ownership and we communicate in a timely manner, everything gets easier. And so I'm going to read to you what our 12th guiding principle is, and then the 13th as well here in a minute. So our 12th guiding principle says ownership and action. We believe in owning our ideas, our projects, and our deliverables, including owning our mistakes and taking action to solve them when they are discovered. We use the BME tree of life and the circle of life to make wise decisions. And so I implemented something quite a few years ago at this point called the circle of life. And it's a decision-making tool that when we use both internally, externally, anytime we use it, it really yields the best results. And it's something that both myself and any of the folks on my leadership team are able to reiterate and share and preach about. And it helps us all make decisions coming from the same place. And so the circle of life says that we make decisions in light of all three of these things. The first being, is this what's best for the company? Because if we make a decision that's best for the company, it keeps it profitable, stable, keeps it running smooth. And then the next decision we ask, or the next criteria, the filter we ask ourselves is this what's best for the team as a whole and individual team members? And when we think about that, if we're able to serve our team members well, if we're to make sure their jobs are with as low friction as possible, they enjoy what they're doing and they enjoy coming to work every day, then that not only supports the company because we're able to be profitable and deliver great results, to our team for the company, but it also affects the third kind of decision-making criteria that we use inside of the circle of life, which is this what's best for our clients? And the reason that we ask ourselves those questions and we use the circle of life is because if something is good for the company, then it's good for our team and individual team members, and it's good for our clients, then our company stays profitable and whole. Our team is healthy and happy and they get compensated well. They get the tools and resources and training and support and everything they need in our culture here. And then they're able to serve our clients well. And when our clients are served well, they're happy, their business is growing, they continue paying the company. So it's a never-ending circle of life that happens when a business is running effectively. And that's why we reference it in taking ownership and action, because if we take ownership of making the right decision inside of the circle of life, then everybody benefits. The company's profitable, team members, get the benefits and compensation and all the support they need. Clients are getting great service and great results. And so it's just a fortuitous circle that goes on and on. And if we couple that with our 13th guiding principle, which says effective and timely communication, we take 100% responsibility for our own communication. That means that we go above and beyond to be clear and set expectations while being kind and considerate of others. We teach and use our BME stoplight system. We use the BME ARC system to create clarity. We use discretion to determine the best communication channel to communicate challenging updates. We use the BME 5-minute rule when we are stuck. We ask ourselves and each other, is this BFR? We are strong and kind in all of our interactions. So we've got a lot of acronyms and a lot of tools in here that I'll break down as well, but they're things that you can apply. And they're actually things that I talk about as well in my book, Atomic Words, and you can go to atomicwords.com to learn more about that. But anytime that we say BME, that stands for our whole company name, Business Marketing Engine. And the first tool that I talk about in our 13th guiding principle of effective and timely communication is the BME stoplight system. And this is something that we implemented a few years ago, and it's just red, yellow, and green. So when we delegate something or when we're communicating something new, our team knows to either say, I'm red, I have no idea what to do next, I'm stuck, I'm not even sure I know what you're talking about. That's red. Yellow is, I think I know what to do, but I need clarification. And so I'm going to ask some clarifying questions. I'm going to make sure I have the right access. I'm going to make sure I really understand the result that's wanted here. And of course, green is, I'm green. I totally understand. I'm able to execute on this. I understand what you delegated. And so having that simple communication tool internally allows us to really be effective and timely in our communication. The BME ARC system, ARC is ARC. It stands for Ask, Reason, and Context. So I can say to Jethro, who helps me produce the show, I can say, my ask is, Jethro, can we start 15 minutes early on our recording session next week? The reason is I have a conflict, with something else. And then the context is, since we're starting earlier, we'll make sure we're done, 15 minutes earlier as well. And that's just a simple way to frame up what I'm asking, because most of the time in kind of casual conversation, everybody starts with context and you don't know what their ask is or the reasoning. And so it's really difficult to track along in that conversation. But if you instead use ARC, which is ask, reason, and context, then there's a very clear ask. The person knows the reason very quickly, and then they have all the context to make the right decision as well. So that's a tool that I highly recommend they use. Like I said, I break that down in detail in my book, Atomic Words. You can check that out at atomicwords.com. And the other two tools that I mentioned in here, our 5-minute rule is you're allowed to be stuck for 5 minutes, but after 5 minutes, reach out to your manager, reach out to somebody for help, do some research, whatever you need to do, but don't allow yourself to stay in a stuck state, because if a team member is doing that here, it means that they're not using all the resources and the decades of experience that we have across our, really experienced team members and long-standing team members. And so we don't ever want somebody to feel stuck and like they have to figure out all on their own. We do want self-starters. We do want people to take ownership and action, which is why it's coupled with that guiding principle. But we don't want anybody to stay in that really stuck state. And then the last acronym in there is BFR. Is it beautiful? Is it functional? And is it right? And that's a way that we just self-check. We use a system called TPI, which is 2% integrity, that we check work. But we ask ourselves, is this beautiful? Is it really what it should look like? Is it functional? Like, do the forms work? Did the site work the way it's supposed to? Is the campaign, when I click here, is it functioning right? And then is it right? If we step back from is it beautiful and functional, is this the right thing to do in this campaign or this project? Like, is this really what we want to drive at? And so when we ask those questions, it allows us to communicate effectively and in a timely manner about what's coming up. And one of the things that I'd encourage you to do is just look at how you normally operate and look at the things that you end up explaining over and over. It may feel like to your team, to clients, whoever it might be. Those are the types of things that typically can be maybe, shared as is the way you already speak about them. Or other times you may want to take and kind of reformat those and phrase your guiding principles and your core values so that they clearly describe the behavior that you want from your team and from the people you're interacting with. When we do that, we give a clear roadmap and everybody knows what to follow, and it can be referenced. And it's also a nice third-party tool where in a healthy way, it can depersonalize or lower the emotions in a more charged conversation, where you can say, hey, this is one of our guiding principles is taking ownership and action. And, when you were sent this request, you didn't take ownership of it, you didn't take action on it, and that ended up leading to problems inside of the circle of life. So what I'd like to see next time is you take ownership, you take action, you dive in, and you communicate right away. Use the 5-minute rule if you're stuck. So that's the type of conversation that myself and the other leaders here on the team will have with other team members here as we're supporting and serving them. And using that kind of language, using a tool set, which is just these core values and guiding principles that you can, of course, and absolutely should, model. You can model whatever you'd like, but make them truly yours. When you take this approach, you're going to find that your team can be a lot more effective and not bother you with those, do you have a second or a quick question, or can we go over something quick? They'll actually be able to operate using your mind, your approach, and your principles and core values by simply putting this tool in place and, talking about it consistently. So I hope that's useful to you. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about our last 2 guiding principles. And all of this week, we're talking around mindset and things that just come up for us as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as those managing businesses. So I hope it's useful to you. If you have any questions, drop them down below or visit us at businessmarketingengine.com, and we will see you on tomorrow's episode.